ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Mrs. DeSalle?
Here.
Ms. Shores?
Here.
Mr. Runge?
Present.
Mr. Downey? And Chairman Zimmerman.
Here. We have some guests this morning, but I know you're on the program, so I won't go through the timely introductions. Our city manager is with us this morning. Good morning, Jim. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes of the November 19th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motions passes the minutes for this morning. Next item on the agenda is the election of officers. Without being presumptuous, I just want to state that I am not a candidate for office. This month marks 30 years on the Tree Commission, and so it is time for me to move on to other things. So after this meeting, I will be submitting my letter of resignation from the Tree Commission and moving on to do some other things that I think I'd like to do and hopefully be able to contribute in some other areas. Wow. So the first item is the election of the chairman. Is there a nomination for chairman?
I would nominate Mr. Runge.
Mr. Runge is nominated. Is there a second? Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. There's a second, a motion and a second for Mr. Runge. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations, and since there's only one, why Mr. Runge is elected as chairman of the Tree Commission. The next election is the election of the vice chairman.
I would nominate Dan Downey.
There's a nomination for Dan Downey. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
A second for Mr. Downey. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, by acclamation, why Mr. Downey is elected vice chairman. And since I'm no longer chairman, I'll let you come over here and I'll sit over there. How's that?
Okie dokie. This is an unexpected change.
Life's full of changes.
You want your name tag on this side, sir?
No, I don't really care. Well, thank you.
Can I go over your agenda?
Sure.
I have extras here. I have extras.
I got one.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Oh boy, do I get a raise?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Twice as much as you used to make.
So, completing number 3 on the agenda, we move on to public comment. And do we have any? Seeing none, I ask that we move on to old business. And we could make a motion that we move on to item number 6 would be new business, since we have guests here to discuss that. Accepted?
Yes.
And so I would welcome the discussion of the Main Street Vero Beach pilot project, Mrs. Deborah Avery and Robin Polensky to the podium.
Good morning and congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations to both of you. We're both here. Debbie Avery and I are here to just bring you up to date with the POTS and the Adopt-A-Pot program going on downtown, and mainly to thank you for all your support. Thank you for your support. Thank you for mentioning these programs, the programs that we're working on continually, and we're happy with what's happening. We're very happy with this cooperation we're having with the city and with Nanette in particular and her crew. And we just also wanted to let you know that we have in the works a plan to add an additional 10 POTS if I didn't tell you that already, I can't remember.
I was going to ask her.
Yeah, but Nanette and I have worked, we've located where we're going to put these pots, and we're calling this the green on 14th. So that's how we're kind of putting a little slogan to it and saying that there's going to be an additional 10 pots available for sponsorship at the Shuffleboard Court, at the Rotary Fountain, Heritage Center, and then again at the Community Center. And so we're actively seeking sponsorships for those right now. But we think that's going to be a real nice addition to have that in the green area and to push that we have green in the downtown. So again, we just, really, really thank you for that, for all your help.
Especially Chris, he's been very supportive by planting some of the pots.
Oh.
We truly appreciate that.
They're stunning.
Yeah, we just redid ours in front of the Pocahontas.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah.
we'll stand behind it,
Yeah.
supporting the project going forward.
Really
now that I
appreciate it.
sit
Thank you
here.
so much.
And if I was going to say to you too, when I notice some that are sometimes not as in stellar condition, Nanette lets me know too, which is fine. I mean, plants are plants, and I appreciate it, and that gives me a heads up, and then I make a phone call or whatever to the contractors, and so I'm on top of it. Nanette is, and even though it's 100% donated, everything's donated, time, everything. We appreciate this cooperation that's happening.
Yeah, we noticed that you recently replanted the hanging baskets as well.
That was done. That was I'd like to mention that too. Dig Gardens on US 1, Spencer Porteous, he just walked up and said, I'd love to take on those pots. And we said, just for we were thinking the one block, that first block. And he said, no, I'll do them all. So he took that on. It was a major.
Wow.
Yeah, that was really nice. And I recognized, we all did, because last year it was kind of a hit and miss with our committee, and we did the best we could with what we had. But to have it done professionally this year, and he's promised to maintain them. So we're getting. He'll do a great job. And he'll do a great job.
And we're getting really good support from the businesses sponsoring the pots and helping us to pay for them. And so the project has not cost Main Street any money. We're not making any money, but we're paying for the project. So it's been really
win-win.
a blessing.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Well, I just have one more question. Do you have any buy-in from the local businesses that front the pots to maintain them?
Well, not necessarily those in front, but there's quite a few that have sponsored. Not as much as the Garden Club. The Garden Club is the biggest
The Garden
sponsor
Club is our biggest
of all.
sponsor.
Yeah. But some of the businesses have taken on either the banners, which are less expensive in sponsorship costs, and that's not as easy to put a sign. We can't put a sign on a banner saying sponsored by. So we've come up with how do we do? We have the pole at the front. So those sponsors where it's not easily identified on the street, we've got that. But it's picking up. People talk about it a lot. We've found out so.
Yes, and even other areas of the city like what we're doing.
Oh yeah, that's step number 2.
Yes, number 2.
Number 2.
Watching a
I'm going to
plan.
stay right here. Yeah. So can I move on to that? The OBA.
Yes, of course.
I would just like to make a comment. I want to compliment you on moving forward with. It was very nice that you thank us for the support, but you took the recommendations and you moved forward because I'm very impressed at how beautiful the street looks.
Oh, nice.
And
Good.
I think that the better the street looks, the higher the probability you will get more and more sponsors.
Yeah, that's.
It's kind of a self-fulfilling
And
prophecy.
it kind of rolls like that.
Yeah, and our banners should be in any day now. Our replacement banners for the first block, because
And we're adding banners.
and we're adding banners north on the green. Yeah. So we found that 3 years was kind of maxed out, those little banners.
For the
looking
sign,
kind of
right,
yeah.
yeah.
So over the Christmas break or in that 2 weeks, we're going to get them put back up, and it's really. I think it's going to look really sharp by January. Everything will be really happy.
Did you have a time frame for those extra ones down?
No.
Okay.
I didn't know how you where you
Because I haven't
were on
done
your
anything
schedule.
on the irrigation with those yet.
That's fine. We don't have the sponsorships yet.
Good.
We're working on it, but
We need the sponsors for the pod.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you all. Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much.
Same to you. Happy New Year.
So what's happened with this, it's just like you said, it's self-fulfilling. Because once you get some that look good, somebody else talks about it, and then, so I'm really happy with, it's really not a hard job for me. I mean, it's a volunteer job for me, but it's not difficult. I just make a phone call, an email, and people jump in. They love our town.
Oh, that's great.
You know?
Great. It's great that the cooperation is there.
Yeah. So because of our success downtown, I got a phone call during the summer months from the Oceanside Business Association to meet with them. They wanted something similar. And they said, what can you do
Great.
for us? And so I explained the program, and they weren't ready to do the sponsorships. They just didn't think that was the way they wanted to go. They felt like they do have some dollars to spend, where Main Street was, there are no dollars. I'll just take it there. And so anyway, so we came up with just a pilot program to see how it works, see what the businesses are willing to spend with the little bit of money that they did have. And so I got permission from Jim O'Connor to work with Nanette to do the irrigation, because that's number one. Won't work without the irrigation. And so Nanette and I walked Ocean Drive, and we identified 8 of the bulb outs from Beachland to, was it Camellia?
We actually did acacia to Camellia.
Acacia, yes, to Camellia. So there's 8 bulb outs on the west side, and worked with Oceanside, or the OBA, in determining which kind of pots they wanted. And my recommendation to them was pots very similar to what's downtown. I know they want a little different look, but I said, let's go with the same company. We know the planters are good, they're all that stuff.
Right.
And so anyway, the ones I showed them, they decided they wanted a low bowl, a low look. And so we had this discussion, and the next thing you know, they ordered them. And which is okay. I mean, it's fine. We're going to make it work. But they're only 10 inches high. So we had a discussion.
They're going to be in front of their stores?
Well, in the bulb outs.
They're in the bulb outs.
They're in the
that
bulb
we
outs.
take care of.
Right.
They're in the right of way.
But even so, that's...
Well, they're going to. It's not a bad selection. It's
They're 36 inches.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not little.
Yeah.
They're shallow, but they're big.
I was thinking a mixing
Right?
bowl, yeah.
Wait, did you? This is my black and white copy. Did you get this?
Yes.
No, those are nice bowls.
The bottom right. That's the bowl. 37, I think it is.
37
wide.
inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
So it's
are
pretty
nice.
Yeah,
substantial.
no, they're very wide.
And so anyway, Nanette's crew's been working on getting the irrigation in, taking out some of the old shrubs. So we have,
Grass.
Grass. Yeah, grass. That was a big one, to get rid of some of the sod, help with the maintenance around the pots. And so the OBA asked me to look into the plant selection and maintenance. So I've got 3 bids in the works. I've got 2 in right now, but one's still out in the works for planting the pots and maintaining them. And I told them, I said, Oceanside, you've got to have a maintenance plan. I mean, we can't do what we're doing down here. So, and they were totally in agreement. So I will present those bids to them probably by the end of this week or early next week. But what I did was come up with just a plant palette. This is not the end all, but I did some searching, and I'll tell you the truth, I don't know a lot about annuals. I'm a designer. I know form and all that, but I don't know a whole lot about annuals. So I did some research, talked to a number of different nurseries. This is what was recommended to me, in addition to some basics like geraniums, vincas, petunias, some that are going to make it out there. So I thought what I wanted to do today was just give you this and say, get your comments on these particular plants for pots on Ocean Drive, and maybe one day on Cardinal as well. And then one other thing is, when I talked to the nurseries or the landscape installers, I said, I don't want to make the selection of the plants because I'm not the one maintaining them. And usually, well, a landscape architect, I select the plants. I do that. That's what I do. But in this case, because I won't be maintaining something as delicate as this in harsh conditions, I felt it was important for them to make the recommendations. So the the plant selections that are coming in from the contractors are not at all on this list. So I thought it was important that I address that to you and let you make some comments so that I can go back to the contractors and say, Tree and Beautification Commission says we absolutely have to have salt-tolerant plants that'll handle the wind and the salt. So anyway, that's why I'm here, to ask for you to consider that. They've already purchased the pots. They'd like to get them in by early January at the latest. And they've committed to maintaining 2 times a month through the end of June. And then they're thinking July, August, September, they'll either put mulch on the pots or egg rock, Mexican beach pebbles, something like that. So it looks, they're clean during the summer months, but no maintenance. And then they'll just revamp them September, October. Mm-hmm.
Could they have the option, if they so chose, to put a summer flower in them?
Yeah, that'd be fine too. I think the OBA is looking to see how successful this will be. They first came to me and said, we want them on Cardinal, we want them on Ocean Drive, both sides, and I said, you're asking for a lot. And they're also looking for banners. I mean, they want the whole thing. But I said, let's just start with the pots, a small number, see how they work, see what you're willing to spend, and so
see what they're willing to do.
And what they're willing to do. And the other thing is, with the irrigation that's going to be in the bulb outs once a week, 30 minutes? Is that what we decided?
I don't think we got down to that specific.
No.
That'll make a difference.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what's
we need.
Yeah, we'll see what's in there and see I haven't seen the pots. Do they have holes in the bottom? Because you talked about them having wicking.
Well, these won't now.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's only one zone, so when the pots come on, the landscaping's going to go on. And I'm putting new landscaping out there, so it's going to run more frequently than it would if they
otherwise,
established.
Okay.
So we'll work it out.
Okay, we'll work it.
It worked. We did it downtown. It didn't work.
Yeah. Well, when they selected this 10-inch pot, there was, even in the OBA, there were people in their committee who said, well, it's really a shallow pot.
Yeah, to hold the
and
water
it's going to
for a
dry
while.
up fast.
And it does depend on what medium they use. So it might be a good idea, the people who are doing the actual installation, we need to have a chat with them about what soil they're going to use. Are they going to put gravel at the bottom? Is it all going to be soil?
No, I've talked to them about putting some pea gravel at the bottom.
Yeah, because otherwise the soil just clogs the hole up. And is the soil going to dry out quick? So we
mulch a little bit. Oops.
Something
like
to
that.
help, because you don't want to overwater them.
No.
But if it drains well, then if the water does come on every day for a little bit for the new landscaping, it won't hurt them. Typically, we don't usually run past 15 minutes.
Okay, well, that's why, because of all that, we weren't sure. We bought the wicking system.
It's going to have a little drip thing in there, so it's not going to get a massive amount of water.
Right.
So
I convinced them, after we did the walk, to include in the purchase of their pots a wicking system. So it's like a self-watering thing. So when it gets a lot of water, there's a reservoir at the bottom, and then it'll wick up when it's dry. It'll wick up into the soil. So they didn't want to spend the money, but we did.
In the long run, it's penny wise and dollar foolish.
It'll be worth it.
Yeah. And what were the type of plants that you said the contractors wanted to put in there? Do we know that?
They just wouldn't work.
Okay, all right.
They're beautiful, but they won't work on the beach.
Robin, Nanette's experience with what's worked over in those locations is, I think, a great resource.
Oh yeah, but like I'm on the same page with her. Pots are a whole different animal.
Yeah.
And
I understand that because of the drying out or overwatering.
It's only 10 inches. But certainly,
succulents are a big one.
I think if you wanted to run anything by me, but typically it's more shrubby stuff rather than flowering stuff. But
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm looking at this, and these will all work.
That's what I thought.
We saw those beautiful geraniums over there in front of the shoe store.
Kemp's.
Ken's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kemp's.
They were gorgeous.
Well,
And
yesterday. I spoke with Barbara Lee, and she's my contact person with the OBA, and this was her selection yesterday. She said geraniums, vincas, petunias, and creeping jenny. Creeping jenny is like like ficus pumila, but it's a chartreuse color. Disney uses it in their baskets, but they want color.
Yeah.
They want color: yellows, reds, blues,
Yeah.
whatever we can get color. So the big one is the water and the maintenance, and I think they're on board and they're willing to give it a try
Yeah,
and make it work.
geraniums, you have to deadhead them
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a lot of work, geraniums.
They are.
They're a lot of work.
And if they get too wet, then the whole thing.
Oh, they'll fungus out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would err against those.
Okay.
Because I've done them.
I have a question about back to the maintenance. That you have different contractors quoting, and are they all quoting the same type of work, same scale?
I told them 2 times a month, or if they have a better recommendation,
Okay.
to make that recommendation.
Okay.
I just asked for their recommendations on it.
I was going to say, some of the vendors who do clay pot maintenance are twice per week. So you might find that twice per month
It's not enough.
is not enough.
Especially if somebody comes by and pulls the water out.
Yeah, and then, you're depending on only looking at those things twice a month, and you could run into it, especially during season. You want them at
Right.
the peak. What I would offer as a suggestion with the committee's comment is that you come back to us as soon as you could with a final selection for approval.
The plants.
I can't see that it's going to be a problem because you have a very limited palette of material
Yeah.
that works in a dish garden within a salt environment on low water requirements. So it really narrows down the focus
Yeah.
of what you can use.
Okay.
And that's basically my question. How could it be bid if you don't know what you're going to do? I mean, you couldn't possibly put anything out to bid, could you?
Without a
If
set
you
of
didn't have plans.
specifications.
No, I'm asking them to make the selection.
She's receiving bids.
I'm getting bids, and the contractors are telling me what they suggest to put in the pot.
Right.
But then that's not
So they're all
a
gonna be a little
bid.
different.
That's not.
They're all a little different.
Yeah, but a bid is supposed to be uniform.
Well, but that's
No, I'm not
paying-
criticizing.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's
not
up to the
criticizing
OBA.
you. I'm just saying that a bid normally
Yeah.
you have criteria. That's the criteria. You put it out to bid, and people come back.
Yeah, I understand that, but
I know you do.
But I wanted, I really wanted.
You're actually asking for a suggestion
Yes,
more than...
because I want
bids.
them to be responsible for what they select to put in the pot. Because if I decide, or OBA decides, and it's not working, and it's an easy step to say, well, they told us. So I wanted it to, I just think it's a comfortable solution for everybody, and it's up to them to decide how they want to make a decision.
Right.
You
this
know,
is-
how much money, I don't know how much money actually they're comfortable with.
Robin,
So-
the other thing I'm a little confused with, and maybe I misunderstood, but I thought in the initial part of your presentation, there was some disagreement with them as to financing and getting sponsorships and so forth.
No, there wasn't a disagreement. They just felt they heard my presentation about the sponsorships and how it worked here, and they didn't have an argument or anything. They just said, we don't want to go there.
Oh, so
We just don't want to do that. We just want
they're
to.
perfectly happy in absorbing cost and
Yeah.
standing behind
They
the
honestly just wanted to pay me. They said, here, we'll pay you, take care of the whole thing. And I said, I don't work that way. So I said, I'll help you move it along. And so.
And the other aspect of that, which was brought out, is the maintenance.
Yeah.
Based on the material they use and
Yeah.
the location, if twice a week maintenance is part of this whole program, it's going to drastically affect the cost of and the viability of the program.
Yeah, like they put in succulents. They got dishes of succulents out there.
And you don't.
It's nothing like,
Right.
it's not anywhere close to geraniums and daisies. You know, it's.
But then again, then you're not going to, the OBA is not going to be happy because it's not got
Color.
the color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it wouldn't be an impact.
You might want to ask the people that are doing your quotes for you,
Right.
to, not only ask them for the plant palette, but what kind of maintenance schedule they suggest.
That's
based on that.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it's
Okay, so you just suggested twice a month. If
I just suggested twice a month.
If they come back saying, oh, this is going to need us to come out once a week or twice a week, then they would include that. Okay.
Yeah.
And with respect to the suggestion of the plants themselves, I'm assuming that includes the plant materials,
the soils, the
everything.
Everything.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what you're describing is fairly common in associations where they are looking for a design. They'll go to different vendors, different architects, and then choose a designer, and then ask the designer to do the install and warranty the product through its maintenance. I think it's a great idea.
Good.
Yeah. Thank you. I think it'll work.
Yeah.
Well, one more suggestion I made to them just the other day, my last conversation with them was I said, I'd love to hear that you have the businesses and some kind of even if it's just a verbal commitment, that they will keep an eye on the pot in front of their place.
Yeah, near them.
You know, a can, a piece of trash doesn't take much, and then the whole thing falls apart. So, I think they want it, and I think they'll take good care of it.
Good.
So,
Right.
okay.
Thank you very much for your time. We look forward to hearing back from you.
Okay. I'll have pictures soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas to you all.
Merry Christmas.
you.
Happy
Thank
New
you.
Year.
While we're under new business, do anything else? Hearing none, moving on to old business. First item on the list is the Centennial Tree Project, which was tabled at the last meeting. Item B, tree protection ordinance and mitigation fees and proper planning. Nanette, do you have any updates on that?
I don't know that scale.
Okay, moves us on to item 3, review and approval of the annual reports. Any further comments? At the last meeting, there were some questions regarding the language in it, and
I did do some changes to it. I did not bring my copy with me. I apologize, but I will email that back out to you guys. And if you have any issues,
I have a copy.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, you added the issues of 14th Street that we discussed, and that was really the only thing that I thought was just omitted. That was my only comment.
Sir, your comment would be? Is it in here?
I didn't make a comment.
Oh,
I
okay.
just said,
You had a copy.
I have a copy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think the only comment was with respect to 14th Street,
Right.
and I think you addressed that very
We
well
put
in
that
the
in there.
report. It was fine.
Okay, so please email us, and then please do not reply to all, but reply individually to her with any changes.
Correct.
or any questions or issues with it. But if so, if everybody's in agreement with it, we'll send it off to City Council.
Okay.
Very good.
Great.
On to the Treasury report. I'm looking across the table, and I would imagine we
I
do
don't
not
think
have
there's
a...
any change.
No. Which brings us to Chairman's Matters, which is now me. I have one item which I was going to bring up under Members' Matters, and this is something for the city to consider. Fairchild Tropical Botanical Gardens has a project going on now which they're offering free to local municipalities called the Million Orchid Project, by which Fairchild Tropical Gardens is raising and donating epiphytic orchids to local municipalities in an effort to reestablish orchids in a native habitat, and would simply ask that the city might consider and hear a comment from the committee on if this would be a project. It's free. And once the orchids are established, they require no care because they're natives.
There's an application that you have to fill out and
We have a phone number.
reach
and
out to them.
Yeah, you would need to give them a call, see what their prerequisites are. I mean, we are a tree city, so we probably meet all their qualifications, but it's a matter of time for you.
Yeah, no, but it's funny. When we did the staghorn fern out on Veterans Island that got donated, and was standing there because we're trying to figure out where to hang it, and I'm like, oh, it'd be really, really nice if I could get some orchids here and there. So I was looking at the big oaks out there.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
I'm not saying that the Veterans Island might be the best place for it, but we have all of these really, really great oaks, and we have the
Sure.
resurrection fern and the Spanish moss and everything. But I would love to get some epiphytic orchids. So
Well, what
I'll contact them. That's no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, what they're offering are butterfly orchids and Celia.
Okay.
Celia tempensi, and also the cowhorn orchid, which is more native to cypress swamps.
Right. Okay.
I'm not sure. We're sort of at the northern limits
They
for
would,
that one.
I would assume, send us the ones that were appropriate for.
I would also bring to the committee's notice that there are 10 other orchids that grow inside Indian River County, which are terrestrial. And they live underground 11 months out of the year, bloom, and then die back below the ground. And maybe this would be something under our heading of beautification that we could bring to the knowledge of city residents, because I would say most people think they're weeds.
Right. I know I always get the little ground orchids popping up in my yard.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess I'm more familiar with them because I'm from Miami, so they're all over. But, yeah, they're really cool. And they have the little flower, and then they go away.
They disappear. They live in a symbiotic relationship with the fungus below the soil. But this might be some way that we can show our face to the community through education.
Right.
When do they bloom?
Yeah.
Sporadically throughout the year. There's one that comes up this time of year that's called the lady's trellis orchid, a hibernaria. There is one that's called the soldier's orchid. They're about this tall, and they're indigenous to China and Indian River County. And then most of them live out west of town, but you'll find them in oak hammocks and palm thickets. It's just
So basically,
trivia.
if you, well, no, but basically then if you planted a variety that essentially bloom at different times, you could have almost continuous blooms.
Well, the concern and the hard part about terrestrial orchids is that they nobody grows them, and the odds of them sprouting from seed are probably 1 in 10 million.
Wow.
And so it's once you find an established colony, it's preserving them, as opposed to ripping them out of the ground.
All right.
I have one little place right outside. I have a little raised deck area that's just pavers, and they grow right along the edge of the wood. And I'm like, they're always there. Like, hi, little guys. Yeah.
Yeah, they return every year.
Right.
So it's just a thought, and I would be happy to give you this, and you can reach out to Fairchild and see what they say.
My old stomping grounds.
I know.
I volunteered there for 5 years. I love Fairchild.
Beautiful place.
Stunning.
Well, maybe you can get some extra.
That was a long time ago. I'm not sure anybody that's. Well, you know what?
They'll remember you.
I think Mary Collins is still there. She would remember me.
Yeah.
That would be all I have. Are there any members' matters today?
I would just like to thank Carl for his splendid work and for certainly teaching me as a new member how to be a member.
I would agree with that, sir.
Yes.
It was a pleasure to serve under you.
30 years. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're,
End of an era, for sure.
It is.
well, what you've done for the city of Vero Beach is tremendous.
Well, it's nice of you to say that. There's been a lot of people involved and a lot of great chairmen that I worked with during that period of time, and wonderful members who were very dedicated and spent a lot of time involved in some of the more hands-on things that we did early on years ago when we had seedling sales and all this kind of stuff, because at that point we had to raise our own money. There wasn't the fund of money that is available now for projects. So that it was a matter of necessity. I'm not sure it was necessarily something we would have chosen to do, because after you end up having one of those seedling sales and it rains on you all day and you still have to be there because there's going to be people showing up. But it certainly was a lot of fun, and as I say, introduced me to a lot of very interesting and people who were interested in contributing also. So thank you.
Well, I only hope that I can do as good a job as you've done.
I'm sure you'll do better.
Any other matters?
We congratulate our new chairman and our old co-chairman, new chairman again.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Hearing no other matters, I move that the next meeting be on the 21st of January, 2000.